Guys, my name is Corbin. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with Oliver and Loreen. We are here today to celebrate the new project, SAGES, which is incredible. I hear you guys have already watched the long video. What do we think?
Amazing.
It's called a movie. A long video is a movie.
It is a movie, to be fair. It's beautiful, and we're going to be asking some questions about that today. So thank you so much for giving us your time and being so generous. So thank you to both of you. Should we get straight into it?
No. Yes.
Absolutely not. So the first question is, well, how did you guys come to work together? Because you are both incredible artists in your own right for so long. And at what point did you decide to make this a collaboration in its own project versus Loreen being on an Oliver album or Oliver being on a Loreen album? At what point did you decide this needs to be its own body of work?
Okay, I think you're gonna be like, you contact me about you contact me.
I think you tell it, so then it's correct.
Well, I don't always remember, right? But I think it was me. It feels like a me thing to do when I love a creator. I just connect, and I think I used one of the songs on some story or something, just to give you a little hint. But I don't like what you do. Yeah.
I followed you on Instagram, and I think I sent a message along with it because I saw that you followed me. Like,
So it was you.
Yeah. Like, hey, love your stuff. Good luck on this Euro thing. And you were like, what are you doing on Monday? Like Eurovision was on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go win this thing real quick, and then can we make some music?
Yeah, but it's like that. I did come the day after I won.
Yeah. It was really, really.
Pretty badass.
It was pretty badass. Also, because like you were on the front page of every newspaper.
Yeah.
And Iceland is a very small place. It's like a little village, you know.
Yeah.
And that people had you very much on their mind that day. And Iceland loves Eurovision too. And we went to my friend's 30th birthday party. Remember this?
Yeah. And wasn't it? But didn't they sing karaoke? They sang Tattoo, and I was standing at the audience.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a minute, no, what? Yes.
But am I right in thinking that you used to listen to Oliver before you went on stage?
Yeah. I was like, I can't remember if I did that, but I definitely listened to Oliver.
A big fan.
Big fan is in a small word compared to what he is. An absolute amazing creator. I love. He doesn't really know how much I listen to him. It's a lot. Just saying.
Play cool.
And she doesn't know
I
that
can't play cool.
I've done the whole dance routine to Euphoria at least 70 times, you know.
And 5, 6, 7.
I've like cleared the dance floor because like you have to move so far.
That's so nice.
So mutual interest.
Yeah. Mutual fans, that's so nice. Is there anything unique about working together that is different to how either of you normally write and record solo?
There's, there's something really interesting that happens in the creative process, which is very often solitary. Like you often create alone. Like you write lyrics maybe alone. Yeah. I write most of my music alone. And there's something interesting that happens when another person is sitting next to you. Like even if they're not, and like she was totally contributing, but like even if she hadn't been contributing, just their energy is like half of it.
Right.
And I remember very clearly the moment we were writing In the Sound of Breathing. Mm-hmm. We had gotten kind of those first verses, and I just had this idea. I want to do this synthesizer. Like just heard it in my head. I was like, can you just go have coffee for a sec?
I telepathically said
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And like I have to do the same thing. It's going to take me an hour though. And I don't think I would have heard that in my head if Loreen wasn't sitting next to me. Like, I think that, you know, because when you're sitting with someone and you're creating something, you're always thinking like, what are they feeling about this? Or what, like their thoughts, their energy actually become a part of your own thought process. And I think that's always really interesting.
It's a very spiritual space to be in, if I may. You hear me, right? Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
This is 4.
Hello.
They told us she should use 4 and I should use 1.
Because this one is
This one's louder.
And I whisper when I speak. No, what was I saying? Yeah, it's a very spiritual space to be in. I mean, and it was a long time since I experienced something like that. It's just so interesting when you meet a creator that, I don't know if you come from the same world as me, but we have a huge respect for creativity and that space, you know. Because if I might say, usually in the pop world, there's an efficiency there and everything needs to go fast and it needs to be there's maybe not that deep understanding of being in the moment, and in that moment, if you have respect and you let it just happen, things happen. And so to be in a space with somebody that thinks the same, and just like it's okay, it's gonna be there, it's gonna come, don't worry about it, no. And it's just very healing and a massive feeling, if I may say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like in our process there's like a sense of protectiveness for each other because it's a very vulnerable process. At least our process was very vulnerable and you could feel very safe. And I remember thinking back to these sessions, I kept thinking like how important, like whenever she sings an idea for me, like how vulnerable is that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just thought of something, I'm gonna sing it for you. Like how important it was just to like make each other feel safe.
Yeah.
And I thought we did that very well actually, like with each other.
Yeah.
You must have felt quite safe, like saying such vulnerable things together, like in the space that you were together, like respecting each other and appreciating each other's art.
100%, because that's when you get, that's the interesting thing is that when you feel safe, you have, all of a sudden you have access to melodies and words and things that emotions that you may not have had access to if you're in an unsafe space, you know? So it's also about getting access to that information that I think is within us, you know, and so, yeah.
Especially when you're wanting to write about something vulnerable, you have to feel safe in order to actually be able to bring it to the surface.
Definitely, there's certainly a vulnerability in the lyrics, and thank you for creating that and sharing that. We're going to move on to the music video. Well, the movie.
Hello.
the film, guys.
Come on.
You guys have all seen it and loved it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. I wanted to talk about what came first. Was it the idea of the music video, or was it the lyrics and then the video, the movie? Sorry, came later.
So we had already kind of formed, or maybe these ideas came in tandem, but like we were like, this is a project, you know, this is not Oliver and Loreen, there's going to be its own thing. And we talked about very early on how much we didn't want to release this like some standard music industry thing, like we'll do 2 singles and then an album. Like it just, like this music didn't feel like it was a part of that world, and I think that's why we felt it so important for it to be this separate entity. It's not her, it's not me, it's this separate entity that just lives in this very unique liminal space in between worlds a little bit. And kind of a natural next step of that is like, okay, so where does the music live, and like how do we then tell the story if we're not gonna do all the standard music industry things, and like we're not doing a lot of press and interviews, but like we're kind of just like letting the art speak for itself. So the idea of putting 2 songs in one film very quickly was something really appealing to us, I think, because it's such an it's so anti everything that's going on in the world right now. Where like, we were doing like some content stuff earlier with Sam, who we mutually hate, but we also love, because he makes us do TikToks. And we're doing videos that are literally 7 seconds long.
Right.
You know, and we're just going, we want to do the opposite to that.
How do you convey the whole
like this
story?
Story takes time, music takes time.
Yeah, and the songs are so beautifully also connected to each other. It's not just, so they need each other, these songs. And that's why it's a project. And
Yeah, it didn't feel right to just release one by one or like have them be in a context where people only hear one of them. They have to hear them both to understand the story we're telling.
Yeah.
It's the whole experience. I think in the video you kind of based it around the dancing plague of 1518. When I was watching it, I kind of saw, I could be completely wrong, so please tell me if not, but there was almost like an aggression and a rebellion within there. There was police officers pulling people away from what they wanted to do and give that own creative freedom and expression. I was curious to ask, is that something that was deliberate and kind of maybe a reflection of what's happening today?
Definitely a reflection of what is happening today. I mean, in a constructive way, obviously. Absolutely. You can speak about the plague if you want to. I know that, yeah.
I love plagues.
But I find it, this is a situation that we're all struggling with, you know, being our authentic self, you know, and our outside are pressuring us a lot, and you know, it's about allowing yourself to live.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things in society that are actually having the opposite effect, you know, whether it's being glued to our screens or just capitalism in general, you know, like we kind of sacrifice our youth, you know, our childness, you know, our inner child for something that doesn't always feel like living to us. And the symbolism in the video, while it's of course a comment on modern society in a way, like we're tied to these chairs in front of a computer 9 to 5, and we look at the people who are free, we look at them as the weird ones.
Yeah.
Like we usually put, if someone did that, but we didn't, or what she was doing to them, we would probably put them in a mental asylum. But like, I think we're just asking the question, is she maybe the same one and we're all crazy?
Yeah.
There's there's another through line, I think, which is also just the creative process. And the name, I'm sorry, I'm having a throat trouble.
I'm sorry.
The name SAGES obviously refers to, someone guiding you know. So this is kind of a reference also to the actual process of creating the songs that we are listening to in this video. So the thank you.
And that came, it's okay, my daughter. Yeah, but not so many people know that the meaning of SAGES means the guides, if you believe in that, if you're a spiritual person. But some would call it intuition, or some would call it angels, guides, whatever. Right? But that is the meaning of it. It's about listening to your intuition, and we all have it. Just have to learn how to listen to it, because that will guide you in the right path. So dance your heart out.
There's that freedom in creativity as well. While there's people trying to stop her, there are the people also there in the film who are trying to help us.
Right.
I feel like my character in the film, I'm actually just trying to make sure she's okay. You know, and that's kind of what we were describing from the studio, you know.
100%. I'm going to ask a question not on the script based on what you guys said, so don't kill me. You mentioned SAGES is about kind of following your intuition, and when did that name come about, and what inspired that?
Oh God, wait, wasn't this wait. You laugh
Sorry,
because you
I'm
remember. I'm looking like this because I can't remember.
We were writing the lyric to In the Sound of Breathing, and we had Follow My, we had that.
Yeah.
We were like, and you and Sandra, my wife, who helped us write some of these lyrics, you were gonna follow my, blah blah, follow my, and I'm just on the computer, I'm like fixing a synth or something like that. And the girls are just talking, and then I turn around in my like swirly chair, like, I've got it, SAGES, because I had been playing Zelda. The night before, of course. The night before, I've been playing Zelda on my Nintendo. And in Zelda, they have these sages, like the spiritual guides in The Legend of Zelda on Nintendo. So that's actually where it comes from. It comes from Zelda.
Let's not tell them so they don't steal your royalties.
And I didn't even know if they liked it at first. I just said it so confidently that I don't think they could have said no.
No, I loved it. I was actually surprised that it was, but I remember that I loved it. It made perfect sense.
It did make sense, yeah.
And I find moments like this so Zelda. I find them very magical because how information just travels like that. And I remember when I was in my hotel, I'm like, that is just so interesting because yes, you did turn, you're like, say it. And the meaning of it. So when I went back to the hotel, like, yeah, it sounds good. And then I didn't marinate it until I was at the hotel. I'm like, wow, SAGES, of course. And so it's just interesting how information comes and you don't really understand what's happening until later. The same goes.
I was maybe a bit overexcited also in selling it. Guys, I know. This is the word. There's no other word. This is the one.
And it works. It works.
That's the only part of the lyrics that I wrote. But that one word.
That was a channeling, man.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that way. Can you tell us a little bit about the logistics behind making the movie? I've heard it was quite a short timeline and maybe we had to go back and do more things.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about how that process came about and if it was stepped either of you outside of your comfort zone.
Oh God. I just remember that we met the choreographer and both of us were like, what is she doing with her body? That is never going to happen. I'll never have a career after this. No.
We're like, how should we move? She's like, I don't know, you could just try something like this. And she goes on the floor and starts humping the floor.
She really humped the floor. And I'm like, no. And I was looking at you, I'd be like, no, totally. But that was very interesting because, again, I was outside of my comfort zone. It was a lot of personal development. I'm just saying, man, because I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, she made us very aware, at least me, very much aware of my ego. I'd be like, I need to look a certain way.
She's, bless her, her name is Ausrun. She's an amazing choreographer. And like, she just makes you find that inner child again. Like, you don't care about how you look or if you're moving correct, because it's just that you have to let go of all these things and just be free. That's the point here. So you have to practice what you preach.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I mean. And I'm like, I thought I didn't have ego. I'd be like, no, there's no ego there. No, I'm not going to dance like that. No. But I remember that I to get to that inner child, which is a pretty weird thing, I had to listen to Prodigy. I stopped. I'm like, no, but it was, the whole process was very much a personal development thing for me. I was like, wow, because all the creators that we're working with, very like free and, great at what they did and do. So yeah, but I'm never gonna dance like that again, just saying. No, just
yeah, Iceland has like weather, I think we had originally a 4 days shoot in total,
Yeah.
and one of them was outside that final drone shot actually.
Oh fuck, that was
Yeah.
intense, man.
And she is in like wearing almost nothing.
That was my brilliant idea.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to be one
Yeah, I
with
want to be
nature.
outside in nature. Are you sure?
It was
That's really
freezing.
true.
And what I did, I'm like, this drone shot killed me because we were in the middle of nowhere, and I for that shot, I didn't have a jacket.
Yeah.
But what don't you do for art? I was like, oh fuck. It was intense.
And you had to do it twice
Yeah,
because the first time we shot that day,
yeah.
the wind was too high and the drone just wouldn't really fly.
But that's the thing, you know, when you have, like, when, you know, we have a vision and it's I don't know, I think you're like that in your creative process as well, you know. You go that mile for the art because
Yeah.
of the story that we're telling it. There's no such thing as like, oh, I'm not gonna do it because I feel like there's something bigger than me and my ego. I'll do it.
So
Yeah.
Loreen came back to Iceland in January
And then again.
for that one shot, basically.
Yes.
Because the shot wasn't right.
Well,
The
you
drone
know,
was like,
yeah, it was moving, yeah. And
we did a couple of extra things since we were.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I remember that I was blue.
Yeah.
My face was just blue. I'm like, why? Because it was freezing. No, but it was nice to go back. I honestly used it as an excuse, just to be like, I don't like that picture, just so that I could come back.
Oh no, I have to go back.
Yeah, but the Icelandic nature is just absolutely amazing. I mean, come on, man. And it's a very, like, the energy there is extremely strong, if I may say. Like, you just feel everything. At least I feel very one with everything when I'm there. So, yeah, and it's a fucking movie. It needs a couple of days of
100%.
filming.
Can we get a round of applause for
Yeah.
that?
You mentioned about pushing yourself. You may need. Do we need
What?
to-
Something fell, right? Wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, you little. Like,
hello.
really okay?
Don't worry about it. It's like
That's
like-
that's
They say
the
it's
online
fine.
stream.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you mentioned about pushing yourselves and challenging yourselves. I think this project sounds completely different to anything that either of you have done as solo artists. I'm curious to know that how have your fans reacted to it? Is it been positive? And yeah, we're getting the face on the ring.
I mean, honestly, the reaction. The reactions have been beautiful and beyond what I honestly, I didn't have any expectations. But it's not only the reactions, it's also the conversations that the people are having. It's like you think that they wouldn't understand, but they understand, and they just make these beautiful interpretations, and they create their own art also with the music. It's just like I just love the idea of it sparking other people's creativity, because creativity is so healing for us. That is our common language. So I mean, I don't know how many times I'm gonna be real. I cried. Because I look at what they create and what they say, I mean, like, this is so fucking beautiful. Because it brings me hope also, because it's like, it just tells us a little bit of where we collectively are going. It's not so bad. We're actually doing great.
One of my
Yeah.
favorite things has been to see people posting videos of them like dancing in their office and stuff. Like really taking the message to heart and just like, I don't care if people are watching me, but I'm just gonna dance.
Yeah.
It's also like one of these rare times where I actually really enjoy reading the YouTube comments. Because people really like. There's no bullshit. There's just people really taking the message and taking it to heart and trying to analyze it, and it's really fun to kind of witness.
Another thing that also surprised me is that obviously the songs are so long, and you would think today it needs to be 2 minutes. But they're taking their time. I mean, how long is Celebrating? It's like 6.
Celebrating is like 6 minutes, and opening is like, I don't know, 8 or something.
Yeah.
And that's actually cut down from. It was longer.
Well, guys, people watching online, Loreen and Oliver are watching your content and comments, so
Always.
keep creating. This is the final question, and one that's been on the top of my tongue.
I don't know what he's gonna ask. I don't know what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
Will you both continue to work together, and can we expect any additional SAGES music? Perhaps an album?
But no.
It's not gonna happen. Cliffhanger. I mean, this was a very, I think we're very much the same. It was an organic process, and if it happens, it will happen, you know. Let's just say it like that. We're not gonna tell you anything. We're just gonna leave you at that.
Yeah. I read an
Say no to the pressure.
I think there's a thing in creativity which is really dangerous, is that when you have an idea, you have a blank slate, you know, everyone starts with a blank slate, and we started with a blank slate, and we had an idea. And then that idea is something that's, you know, good or successful or whatever, however you want to measure the merit of your ideas. But then you decide to do it again. The thing you've done in the past becomes like a prison. Like you're stuck, like in this idea that you have to have an idea that is somehow like that last one. But the reason you had that idea is because you had nothing, you know? And that's how I also feel about this. Like, there might very well be some more SAGES in the future, but I feel like we have to do it from
With
nothing,
that sense, yeah.
not because that's what everyone would do. If you do one thing, you have to do another thing. That's not why I want to do it. I want to do it if we feel inspired and if we
Yeah,
just have an idea that we want to
Yeah.
execute.
yeah, yeah. So that's really following the flow. You know? That's what we're trying to preach here, to follow the flow. I'm looking at Doris and these girls are like, so, give us a date.
No, that's great.
No.
This also took 2 years and it's 3 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how long album it would take.
I mean, from a blank slate, you made something beautiful. So for now, we have to enjoy that, but who knows what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
We're going to open the floor up to the people in the room for questions. Does anybody have a question? We have one, or we have two. It's all going on.
It is happening.
We'll see how many we can get through, but because you were first, we will ask you what's your name.
Hello. I was just wondering, because I know obviously you released In Sound of Breathing and Opening together and then on Loreen separately. I was just wanting to know what the thought process was behind that and the reasoning, especially seeing as Loreen was like the middle song. I was wanting to know why it was released separately to the rest.
Oh, the third song.
Yeah.
This is a you question. You did. It was all his fault. I'm telling you.
I'm wondering how honest I should be. I just thought the other two were better. And at some point I said to Loreen, you know, I think we should just release 2 great songs instead of releasing 2 great songs and 1 good song, you know?
What?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah, I know. This is my own ego and my own shit, you know? But that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
We chose the other 2 for the film. Because at the time, I think we hadn't finished Annoying. We weren't sure if we were going to finish Annoying.
No. And obviously, like, the first 2 songs, in terms of narrative, they connect with each other, you know? The Sound of Breathing and Opening, you know? Yeah. And I guess you're thinking, so what is the story? I'm not going to tell you. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
I know it's not a good answer.
Okay, next question. Who do we have? Big hand at the back here. What's your name and ask your question?
Hi, I'm John. What was the relevance of the Albert Camus quote at the start of the film?
I mean, this is a you question? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think it's fairly.
Yeah, can you say that, okay? Because it's like, it's so beautiful. Do you remember that one?
It's I'm on the spot, so I forget the exact wording, but it's we must become so free that the act of freedom is kind of like rebellion, you know. With everything we've talked about for the last half hour, I think
So
that just felt very natural.
Yeah.
The film was also kind of confusing,
Was it?
and it was kind of nice to give like a little.
Yeah, I mean, it could be confusing if you don't know what the underlying.
I watched some YouTube video of a guy reacting to it, and he thought she died.
Which in many ways,
I was like,
which in many ways I did, like,
yeah.
but the death was basically more of like, birth, it's just leaving the past and whatever idea you have of yourself, and moving on to being free. And you have to die in many ways to become free, and it's about killing the ego. And all these ideas that we have, I'm this, I'm that, all of that, you're not going to be able to keep anyways once you move forward or move on. So, yeah, without being too dark. But it's light. Yeah. Did that answer your question, my darling?
Thank you, John. Very good question and even better answer. We have time for 2 more questions, so if anybody has one, please let us know. Okay, please say your name and ask your question.
I'm Toby.
Toby.
Loreen, it sounds like you started working on, at least talking about this project so soon after Eurovision.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry,
it sounds like you started talking about, or at least working on this project so soon after Eurovision. But it's refreshingly removed from that kind of like craziness and spotlight. Was that something you craved after that process?
You mean the craziness of Eurovision?
Yeah, and this feels very different to that.
I guess because, the thing is, sometimes it feels like I subconsciously move towards what my body and system needs. I think that's how we all work, honestly. So the natural thing would be Eurovision and the chaos that is. But I have to say, it's a beautiful chaos. It's not a negative one because it's just a chaos of love. Yeah, a lot of love. But it's still very intense, a lot of movements. And I think it must have been my subconscious mind just, focusing on, all of a sudden I have this need of going to, all of a sudden I have this need. And it's interesting because a lot of things happen and then afterwards you'll be like, oh, my spirit, my body knew before I knew. Why? So to answer your question, yes, I think so. Yes. But I feel it's important to balance, And very soon there'll be chaos again. And then harmony and chaos and harmony. That's how everything works. There's no love without fear. There's no fear without love. Yay!
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Perfect. We have time for one
We have a
more.
beautiful man who's been like, hello.
We're going to go to the beautiful man at the front. Please say your name and your question.
Hi, I'm Matthew. Congratulations on the release of such a mesmerizing body of work. It's beautiful. And my question is, I wondered if you could both share some of your favorite songs from each other's catalog.
It's funny, Sam. Sam. I told you about Sam earlier. Who we kind of love, but also don't. He made us do like a TikTok where she's like rating her songs.
Yeah. And
So we're fresh, we're warmed up.
well, I know you absolutely love tattoo. You listen to it every day. Like morning, you start your day like that. And when you go to bed, you be like, tattoo. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not
Just
wrong. I think.
I can start. I'm a Libra. I have to be honest. Like I can't choose. I'm sorry. I have to say everything. I mean everything that you. I haven't heard anything that you created. I'm like, what is this? No. I even have like Oliver's playlist, like my own, like for whatever mood I am. Like every time I want to, like
You have like Oliver sad, Oliver happy.
No, no, not really. Like, but I have to say, this might not answer your question. I'm just answering my own. But every time I want to go back to me, I listen to this guy. Must have been a past life or something. But It's just your soundscape is just home. Hello?
And now I'll sound like a dick if I just mention
Yeah,
tattoo.
this is me just making you really okay on what you're gonna say. Just say tattoo, man.
I have to because
Yes.
I'll tell you why.
I think you should.
It's because of the seat, like you call it the bridge or like the middle part. The middle part of the song is like
The strings, yeah.
the irony is one of the best things I've ever heard. It's like
It's a nomadic thing, though.
yeah, and just like to hear that in a pop song,
Yeah.
and this is why like I think we connected very well. There's if you take away the costume that our music is dressed in, whether it is Eurovision or album covers or just the fact that it's pop and it's fast, and in my case it's very much not pop and it's slow, and if you take away all of those clothes, I think our music is very much the same underneath.